So I want to pick up on a conversation that I was having yesterday with a group that I'm part of, and it relates to these post-it notes behind me, which by the way are working post-it notes. Maybe I'll tell you about that project later. The topic from yesterday was what happens when we need to brainstorm. We decide we're going to come up with a bunch of ideas. You've probably heard the word brainstorm before, or idea generation as it's known in design thinking. And you may even have used post-it notes or something similar to help you capture your ideas as you're going. So that's great. That's a great way to enhance the idea generation process because it gets going sort of like a snowball where you see the ideas, especially if you write them out bigger and brighter than I've got going back here. A Sharpie is preferable. 4 to 5 words per post-it is optimal because when you write a little bit bigger, you can see them from a distance and your brain goes, oh, well, when I see that idea with that idea, that makes me think of this. We're really, really brilliant at this when we let ourselves go, when we suspend those limitations. And that is the number one rule of brainstorming, is there are no bad ideas. So we were talking about the game Yes and how you can take ideas and build off of them. You can say, I see that idea and I can add on to it myself and create more ideas. So we're going for quantity here, not quality of ideas. And the thing that I want to warn you against, the thing that I've seen happen, and maybe you've seen it too, is that you start to get into a nice free flow of ideas. Maybe you've got 5 or 6 people going on this rampage of idea generation. And someone starts to say, oh, but that's not really going to work. Oh, but we tried that. Oh, but that'd be too expensive. Fill in the blank, whatever the objection is. As soon as someone starts to evaluate or edit while you're doing the idea generation, what happens? The brakes go on. People sit back. They start feeling like, oh, maybe it's not really safe to put myself out there. What if one of my ideas, the things I'm just coming up with off the top of my head for the joy of creativity, turns out to be something that people really judge me for? What if they think that I'm stupid because I think that's going to work? Reminder, coming up with things that work is not the point of the idea generation phase. You do the idea generation, you seal the envelope with all of those beautiful ideas, most of which are not practical. That doesn't matter. What matters is then when you go into the next phase, you have this breadth of ideas, this creativity, and this trust, this good vibe that you've created amongst yourselves while you're doing the idea generation. And then the next phase is to edit and evaluate. Figure out, okay, so what could we really afford? What could we really do in a year? That's where our technical minds, a lot of us that are engineers or have a technical background, we really are good at this evaluation and editing piece. Sometimes we rein ourselves in on the creativity and idea generation piece. I think it's so important that we develop both. These are like both muscles. It's a left and right arm, if you will, or 2 other complementary skills. It's really good to have both. And if you're a leader in an organization, you want to make sure that you make room for idea generation. And if you see anyone starting to bring that edit or evaluate or judging energy into the idea generation process, please put a stop to it, because your company will thank you for it later. Your employees will thank you for having that protected space of creativity and psychological safety just to come up with any old thing. So I'd love to know your stories of brainstorming gone bad, or maybe it worked really well for you and it enabled your company or your team or even yourself to accomplish something you wouldn't have otherwise. Drop me a comment. Thank you so much.